Join us and help us continue to support the many talented people of our community. Learn how to get your business highlighted on La Crosse Local. Go to lacrosselocal.com and click on Advertise. The Frozen River Film Festival is taking place February 5th through 12th in Winona, Minnesota. Nearly 50 feature and short-form documentary films that will take you to the heart of current events, the forefront of social change, and distinct cultures in an increasingly global community. For tickets and more information, visit frff.org. Join us at the La Crosse Winter Roots Festival, Saturday, February 11th at the La Crosse Center. We'll celebrate Wisconsin favorites in music, cuisine, local beer, and spirits. Grab tickets at lacrosselocal.com. The Pump House Regional Arts Center brings you live, heartfelt performances from gifted singer-songwriters. Enjoy original music brought to stage by area mainstay musicians and sought-after regional bands. Check out the concert series online and pick up your tickets at thepumphouse.org. We talked with woodcarver Mark Hanson. We talked about his start in the craft, the work he produces including carved portraits, mythical beings, charcuterie boards, and more. Catch Mark Hanson woodcarving at the 2023 La Crosse Winter Roots Festival, February 11th. You can find more conversations, food reviews, live music, weekend picks, and events on our website, lacrosselocal.com. I'm Amy.
And I'm Brent.
And this is La Crosse Local.
My name is Mark Hanson. I live in Onalaska, Wisconsin. I've been a local boy, graduated from Holman back a few decades ago. We don't need to go far that far back, but so wood carving. I've always been doing things with my hands. I love tech ed classes in high school and whatnot. And so I was always doing DIY projects around the house, building whatever shelves or, whatever's needed around the house, cabinets and things like that. And, through YouTube, just watching different videos here and there, I started seeing a lot of different wood carving, mainly like wood spirits, so wood spirits are those faces in wood that just thought were cool. So I just started trying that out. And that was probably, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, something like that. Just started carving some just for the fun of it and started enjoying it, and then started getting into other types of projects to challenge myself and see what I could do and what came out of it. So
yeah, I mean, I was checking out your work. You mentioned some of it, but you got portraits on there, you got these kind of mythical beings, but then you have the functional like charcuterie boards. Yeah. What is your process like when you work? Do you do these in batches, or are some of them more like individual pieces that you stop and start with?
Yeah, almost everything I do now is an individual piece. I recently retired, and I thought I was going to have all this time on my hands to be able to do more and more, but I seem to have less time to get things done. I don't know how that happened, but most of the things I do now are like one-off pieces. And I'm really motivated now by what can I create in wood that's that I haven't created before, or is interesting to me at least, versus I never really wanted to get into where I was, batching out, 50 charcuterie boards in a week or whatever. I'll do that from time to time, but I prefer just, I want to be just the creative process. That's what really drives me.
Do you purchase this wood, or is this something you find? Like, what is the best product for carving, I guess? Like, what's that process like for picking out pieces?
Yeah. So a lot of it I find, some of it I buy. It's interesting in Wisconsin, driftwood is one of those things that's considered a forest product, and you have to get a permit to collect it legally on state land. If it's on private land, then you're fine. But if it's on state land, you have to get a permit to collect it legally. So you got to be careful with wanting to do this. There are laws and regulations. The problem with it is that the state of Wisconsin doesn't make it easy to get that permit, because you got to go to the local source, or the local land, and whoever's ever managing that to get those permits. The woods, I've got this trout here that I carved here, and that's from a piece of elm that came from Goose Island, and that somebody had gotten a permit to get firewood from there, so they had the wood, and I bought a couple pieces off of them. It's a variety of sources of wood that I get.
They always talk about it with artists when trying to, I guess, necessarily price stuff. But, they always say, someone will ask you, how long does it take? And I've always heard the thing where it's, well, it took 20 years plus 6 hours trying to put a value in these sort of things. That all aside, how long does something like this take from start to finish? Even the drying the wood part seems like would be, it's like years in the making, right?
Yeah. My neighbor had a tree come down last summer. And so I've got a bunch of pieces drying in the storage unit that I have, and that'll probably sit there for 4 years or so before I'll be able to use it. So yeah, some of those pieces, it's, years of sitting around waiting for the wood to get dry enough to where it's not going to crack or warp on you when you work on it. And then the pieces themselves, it depends on what I'm doing, of course, but it can take anywhere from some of the small wood spirits that I do, where it might only be a half an hour to an hour, depending on how detailed I get with them, to I got a couple pieces where I probably have 20 to 30 hours into them, and those are pieces I can't really sell, at least not for a profit of any way, because it's like, okay, I'll put, $3,000 on there.
Exactly. You're also going to be vending at the 2023 La Crosse Winter Roots Festival. What will people be able to see at the market? Are you working on anything in particular, or does it change seasonally of what you offer?
It's going to be mainly wood carvings. I was there last year, and I did have some, like you said, charcuterie boards. Well, I got a couple of those. I've got a couple of bowls left. I haven't really been carving any of those lately. I just have a few of those, but so I'll have some of my bigger things, like you saw that fish I just did. I'll display a couple of those bigger ones, knowing that those are mainly just to kind of get people to stop. Oh, look, that's cool. But I will have some smaller pieces too, a bunch of smaller wood spirits and animals. I got this owl here that I still have to finish up, but
nice
little owls and things like that I'll have on display there. So it'll be mainly wood carving pieces. That's really my interest right now. The charcuterie boards are people like, but I'm like, yeah, it's a board.
Yeah, I mean, you got some some interesting stuff on your Instagram page. Crow skull and spalted maple, looks like it says. That's pretty funky. I haven't seen that. Also, your different dragons, knothead dragons. Yeah, there's quite, would you consider yourself a traditional wood carver, or is there, is this more, I mean, it's a mix, it seems like.
Yeah, what's interesting is those smaller pieces, especially like in those pine knots that I'll use for like some of those dragon heads. That wood is so dense that I can't really use knife and gouge, so I have to end up using a power. I've got a Dremel that I use with some power bits and such. So I'm certainly not. I'm not a traditional wood carver. I use a variety of techniques. I use whatever it takes to get the job done. And the purists out there would probably cringe at some of the things I do. I don't worry about that. I worry about the process, and I've always liked problem solving. So sometimes it's like, well, how can I make this process or do this in an efficient way that isn't necessarily going to take me. It's not always the time, it's just the frustration of taking, the drudgery, can I figure out a different way of doing it? And so sometimes that lends itself to power tools that aren't traditional.
Sometimes you just have to pull out the power tools.
Yeah.
So what's the best avenue for people to find you? You got an Instagram page. Is there anything else? Is that where people should follow along?
Yeah, I'm working on a website now I have a website, but I'm not going to share it because it's awful right now. But yeah, my Instagram, Mark Hanson Woodcarving on Instagram is probably the best place. I've got a bunch of my pieces displayed in downtown La Crosse at 611 Crystals, 5th Street, down there near the Hollywood Theater. So I got a bunch of pieces there that people can see, and some of those will be at the show.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for chatting with me, and see you at the 2023 La Crosse Winter Roots Festival.
All right.
La Crosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you'd like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at La Crosse Local. Find out more about us at lacrosselocal.com. And you can subscribe to the La Crosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate it.